Zip.
Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Tracy Bannon. And I'm so happy that you are here, that you said yes. How are you doing today?
Hi, Caroline. I'm doing really well. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to have this interview with you.
Oh, thank you. And me too. And I want to introduce you to the audience. You are a personal development mindset and performance mentor, which emphasizes the critical role of paradigms in shaping our lives. By creating a paradigm shift, individuals gain awareness of the mental programs influencing their behavior. The key message is that understanding and taking control of your paradigms is essential for achieving the desired results in life. You have to tell us more about that. And of course, what inspired you to take this role or to act as this coach you are doing now?
Of course, yeah. Well, I first started my journey with all of this stuff back in around about 2010, 2011, when I first came across The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And in that movie called The Secret, the documentary, it was all about how your thoughts become things. And there was, great leaders on there that was, into this stuff, that was teaching this stuff, and who are very famous for this stuff. And the star of that movie was Mr. Bob Proctor. And Bob was leading the movie, and he was talking about your thoughts become things, what you think about, you bring about. And he introduced this law called the law of attraction. And he said, when we work in harmony with this law, we can attract anything we want. Now, at first, I thought this was like, okay, Bob, I'd not heard of this, but what he was saying was resonating with me. Something deep inside of me was resonating. And when the movie had finished, I couldn't forget what he was talking about. And I thought to myself, let me go and check this guy out. So I started following him on YouTube. Every YouTube clip I was watching, I was taking everything in, and I was starting to apply the law of attraction within my own life. I thought, okay, let me just give this a go. It resonates with me. And I started attracting, things. I attracted a job in Dubai. I attracted first class tickets. Everything was just rolling in on this, applying this law of attraction. But then I noticed that Bob, in his on his YouTube channels, he would talk about the law of attraction, but he would mainly talk about the law of vibration. And he said the primary law is the law of vibration, but the secondary law is the law of attraction. And he said, when you have this law of vibration, it's coming from your thoughts and your feelings, this vibration that you are in. He said, we live in an ocean of motion, everything is moving, and everything's vibrating at a particular rate. Hence, that's what makes it what it is with solids, liquids, gases. They're all categorized into their little boxes because of the vibration that they're moving at. And he said, we are also vibrational human beings. And when we think and we feel in a certain way, we then set off that vibration, which is then picked up by the law of attraction. And like attracts like and sends everything that we're vibrating at that frequency back to us. So this started to make sense, because having applied the law of attraction, there was things showing up in my life that I was thinking, well, I didn't visualize that and I didn't apply that in my life. So why are these things showing up? But of course, I kept following him and I kept delving deeper into it. And of course, I then found out that Bob talked about paradigms. And I thought, well, what's a paradigm? I didn't never heard of the word paradigm. And he later then went on to say that paradigms are a multitude of habits in our subconscious mind, habits and beliefs in our subconscious mind, that enables us to vibrate at a certain frequency. So it's that thought and it's those beliefs and those habits that have us vibrating at a certain frequency, which is then being sent out and being picked up by the law of by the law of attraction. So of course, as my journey went along, with Bob, I, decided, well, I love this stuff. And the more I learnt about it, the more I wanted to apply it to myself. And then I wanted to teach it. So that's what I did. So I started applying the beliefs. I started, setting up a vision for myself. Bob always says, set a big C-type goal. There are 3 types of goals Bob talks about: an A-type goal, a B-type goal, and a C-type goal. And your A-type goal is something that you already know how to do. For example, if you want to upgrade your car, you just know how to get a car because you've already done it. You just want a newer model, right? Then he talks about the B-type goal where, you think you can do it if this, and this happens. So you can kind of see a way through it. But then he talks about a C-type goal where you can't have a clue how you're going to get it. Your imagination, which is one of our high mental faculties, is to use that imagination to see where you want to be. Don't look for the way. Just write it down, believe in it, and trust the process. So that's what I did. And I thought, okay, well, what is it that I believe that I would truly want, but I believe is holding me back? And one of the things was, I want time freedom. I would love to have my time freedom, but I don't believe that's possible because I'm working full time. I have no other income coming in. Um, I need to work. And the only time I'll be able to have time freedom is when I retire. And that didn't really sound good to me because statistically, in my area, women tend to survive up to the age of 75 and then they move on. So I said, okay, I want time freedom. Another belief I had was that to run a business, I had to have somebody in my family that could run a business. That's how businesses were. People that had businesses knew someone with a business and they were mentored by that person on how to run a business. And that's how a business was set up. Well, I then got myself a mentor who then started to help me to process these beliefs and to start using the strategies around these beliefs. And lo and behold, I think it was in 18 months, I had left my full-time job. I was at home, getting up when I want, sleeping when I want, eating when I want, serving when I want, going out when I want. Just the time freedom that I had was just, unbelievable. And then following Bob, I decided that I would want to become one of his consultants. And so I registered with the Proctor Gallagher and I'm working towards my certification. So, I've had a lot going on. I've had my little grandson coming in. I'm taking it kind of, enjoying the time freedom, enjoying my time, because once you know you have a vision, once you know that you're working in harmony with the laws, things will happen, and things have started to happen, and things have started to shift. And Bob always said that, when you go to step out of your comfort zone, your paradigms will kick in. If they're not in an alignment with your beliefs, your paradigm will kick in and all hell will break loose to try and get you back to that comfort zone. So unless you change the paradigm, it's okay to have the vision up here. And yes, you don't need to know the how will be shown, but you've also got to have the beliefs that you can do it. So you can sit and dream all day long, but if you don't believe that you can achieve that, then nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. And, I've had to go through lots of hurdles, paradigm shifts to change a lot of things about myself. And I'm still changing, still working on those things. But, these paradigms, these mental programs that are deeply rooted in our subconscious mind, which are not even ours, a lot of them, we picked them up from, when we were first born, from our parents. We didn't come into the world having, certain beliefs around money or certain beliefs around what we were capable of or what we could or couldn't do. Those were given to us from our earliest childhood. And of course, they then went on to being taught things at school, to our friends, to media. all these things just piling on top of each other, of certain beliefs that we have picked up along the way of what we can and can't do. And when you strip it right back, when you go right back, like you start peeling it like an onion, you find out, that the beliefs that I had or that you have around certain things is not true, because everything is possible. But Bob says you must keep going. It's not going to be an easy ride. It's not going to be a walk in the park. But if you want it bad enough and you use the system, the strategy that he teaches, then by law, it must come into form. Not when you want it or not when you need it, but if you're applying it, it will come at the right time.
Oh, that's so true. Thank you so much for sharing. This is very inspiring. And you answered already my second question without me asking who inspires you. And this is certainly Bob Proctor, our
Absolutely.
mutual
Yeah.
mentor, so to say. He passed away 2022. It's amazing. I love what you said. And also, he shared that standing still means moving backwards, right? It is, so you have to move forward all the time. I love that. And my next question is, how do you inspire other people?
Well, I inspire others by, first of all, I have to inspire myself to inspire others. And I have people around me. I have a community of people that do that. But I give my social media, I'm posting every day, I'm helping others. I have people that I help, that come to me, clients of mine that have reached out that I help them, to get over their paradigm shifts. And the thing is with this, Caroline, when you've been doing it for a while, you can start to see the paradigms. You can start to see people's belief systems. They start to hit you straight away. And therefore, you can just say to them, if they're wanting your help, if they come to me, I can say, well, that's just a deep rooted belief you have. It's not a fact. It's just a deep rooted belief. Let's work together. Let me help you. Let me inspire you to start looking at who you really are, because we're not who we think we are. Bob always says we are a spiritual being living in a physical body. And, we have so much power within us to light up a whole city, which is amazing, as you say, but we just don't realize that because we're not taught that. We're not taught to use our imagination in school. In fact, we're taught the opposite. I used to be a teacher and I used to teach. And when children were looking out the window, I was trained to bring their focus back into the classroom, whereas they probably would be learning more looking out the window, daydreaming, than probably what I was teaching. I know, school is very important, but we're not encouraged to, and children are not encouraged to use their imagination in school. It's all focus on the actual practical learning and stuff, whereas the imagination is where it all happens, and if you learn to use your imagination, that's where you can dream big. But a lot of people, we've been squeezed down into a system where we're not encouraged to use it. And so when you say to someone, well, what would you love to do? What dreams would you love? They kind of like don't have that ability to think like that, because it is just a dream and they just think it's not practical to do that.
Yes. Oh, that's so right what you were saying. And I remember coming across a TikTok saying school teaches us what to think. School doesn't teach us how to think. And it's more important to know how the right thinking works. And Bob Proctor was also inspired by Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. Of course, I love that very much. I studied every day, and I'm sure you read it as well many, many times. I'm so happy about that. My next question is, what are your gifts and talents?
Oh, my gifts and talents, I feel, is I'm a good listener. Definitely, I can listen. People come to me and, they say to me, Tracy, I love talking to you because you listen to understand. They reach out to me and, I feel that it's good to listen to others, to get an understanding as to where their paradigms lie, because as they're talking and as they're speaking, it's the words that are coming out of their mouth. It's really the deep rooted paradigms that's deep rooted inside there. I feel I have the ability and, the gift to inspire others too. From my own personal journey, I mean, I left home when I was 15, and I came to this country. I wasn't born in this country, but my parents moved to the west coast of Ireland when I was 15. When I was 6, and things weren't so good at that time, and I ended up coming over here. I was homeless for some time, and I managed to pick myself up and move myself forward. And I feel like the journey that I've been through so much that I can kind of like lead the way for others in situations to help them and inspire them that, if I can do it. I didn't have any education at all. I left school with no education. I did manual jobs for a while, but I had this dream that I wanted to take myself back to education. And everybody laughed at me when I said I was going to do it. This was later on in life. How can you do that? You haven't got a degree. You need a degree to become a teacher. But it was a dream, and it was something I wanted to do, and I attracted the way. Now, at the time, I didn't know I was using the law of attraction. I was an unconscious competent in them days. I was applying the strategies and the things, but not knowing it, and I attracted myself into one of the best universities, teaching universities in the UK, and it was just my journey, I feel, is what inspires other people. I know those around me tell me, that you're an inspiration. We inspire. We've seen your journey, the way where you've come from, and recommend that I write a book, which is going to happen one day. So
I love that. Oh, thank you so much for sharing. This is very inspiring. I have to re-listen to this episode again. There were so many nuggets in it. Thank you so much. And my next question is about goals. You mentioned it in the beginning, and we also know the ABC of goals. You explained it. Do you set goals for yourself? It's not a question at all. Do you set intentions? And what is one of your goals for 2024? You mentioned a book, maybe your book.
no, my book's not in for 2024. That's coming, but not in for 2024. And like I say, at the moment, I'm working to, get certified at PGI. I haven't taken that very seriously because my goal at the time was my time freedom. I wanted to spend time with my family. It was giving back to myself. I've been enjoying myself. I've been taking in all this, time freedom that I do have, because I was, from an early age, living on a farm. I was up every morning working the farm from about the age of 8 up until 15, and then from 15 being on my own. I always had to, defend for myself. So I've always had to work. And of course, when I applied and changed the paradigms around all these beliefs that, I couldn't have my time freedom, I was going to have to work right up until the end, probably, of my life. I got this time freedom, and it's only been about 3 years ago. So since then, as I said, my grandson has come along. I've now got a little granddaughter, and I've just been enjoying time with that and building myself up and getting used to social media. Social media was a very hard paradigm for me to get through. I mean, turning on the camera and going live was just something that I feared doing. But I always remember Bob saying, if you want to do it, keep going, just keep changing those paradigms, keep telling yourself, that you can do it. It's changing your self-image as well, the way you feel about yourself. When you don't feel so good about yourself, then, you're not going to step out. Or if you do go to step out, your paradigm's going to say, well, hold on a minute. You don't have me programmed to look over here where you're confident to go live. You have me looking over here where, we stay in our comfort zone. We don't turn on the camera. So I had a lot of work to do around that. And, with the community that I'm in and the people that I've surrounded myself by, I've managed to, get out of my comfort zone. And now I have a group where people can join in my Facebook group, and I go live once a week. And, I'm just so much confident with that. So, yeah, this is amazing. And Bob has brought out a book called Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life. It's one of my dreams to be an international speaker, and I did my first talk in France around this book, around changing your paradigm, changing your life in France in March this year. And I'm due to be flying out to Dubai in November to be giving another talk at another convention out there. So that's my goals for this year, is to, do some events internationally, and also to set up some events here in the UK, which I'm in the process of doing locally at my local community.
Oh,
So
I love what you shared. Thank you so much. You mentioned Bob saying something like keep going, and that reminds me of my favorite chapter of Think and Grow Rich. I have to mention it again. It is chapter 9, persistence. And you are an international speaker already. I'm in Germany right now. You are in an international podcast. I'm traveling the world by doing interviews, and it's chapter 8 in the German version, by the way, and 8 is my favorite number. So now I have my last question for you, and it is, when people reach out to you after listening to this podcast episode, how can they help you? And do you have special offers or services for the Inspired Podcast community?
I at the moment I have a website. It's at tbinspireconsulting.com. They can go there and find out all about me, find out the services that I give. I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I have a group on Facebook called Inspire Your Imagination. If they want to join me there, that's where I give free workshops inside that shop. And I go in there regularly to discuss books. At the moment, I'm doing a book called Love Money, Money Loves You by Sarah McCrum. And it's a great book, helping people to change their paradigms around their money, because I certainly was one that had paradigms around money. Money was either a feast or a famine with me. There was never a constant flow of it. So yeah, they can reach out to me there at my website and find out all about me and the services that I offer. Of course, I do the Thinking into Results program, which is facilitated by Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher, and that is a life-changing program. So if people are looking for change in their life, and I mean permanent change, there are programs out there that will change you for a while. This is why I call myself Inspire, because I don't want to motivate people. Motivation only lasts for a while, but if you inspire something, it's like comes from the words in spirit. You're inspired to take the action, and when you take the action, it's the action that gets the results. So Thinking into Results is definitely, a life-changing program. It's worked for me, and I know it's worked for others.
Yes, it is. I can assure you that it worked for me, it worked for you, so it works for everyone who is willing to do the work. Let's say it all goes through the willpower, one of our higher mental faculties. And now it's time for your last message to the audience.
Right. Okay. Well, I just like to say to everybody, that you have a superpower within you. You have a gift within you. And that gift may be being held back because of your paradigms. You have a subconscious program deep inside your subconscious mind. And, if you're finding that you can't, that you're not able to do it, then reach out. That paradigm can be changed. I have the strategies. I've been taught by one of the best, personal development mentors in the world, Mr. Bob Proctor, who's taught me the strategies, who's taught thousands of people around the world the strategies. And, when you apply these strategies, you get permanent change. You change your paradigm, you change your life, literally.
This was amazing. I'm speechless now. Thank you for this podcast interview, and see you in the next episode.
Thank you, Caroline.